I love Metroid, and I see that they just released new gameplay footage, so let's watch that.
But you're also not sitting next to Phil anymore in that cubicle, so... Win?
All right, look at that! We got power! One door is still locked, the other one is malfunctioning. Hey, but it's progress. It's about to get real nerdy in here.
Like I said last time, I'm not a huge anime person or anything, but I am talking about anime again. I wasn't intending for this to be an anime channel. Next time I'm going to talk about something different, but for now, we're talking about Perfect Blue. Perfect Blue was directed by the late Satoshi Kon, first screened at the Fantasia Film Festival 1997. This movie is haunting, and it came out the same year as Final Fantasy VII. Never mind. Okay, let's start. Oh my god, I love how old anime looks! There's something so gorgeous about cell animation, being able to look at any frame and know that this is, or was, at some point, a tangible painting. You are looking at photos of drawings when you're watching cell animation. It's so cool. I'm not an expert, so I don't know if there's a term for this, but this 80s or 90s style urban, densely packed neighborhood in Japan with power lines everywhere, I love this as a setting. I'm sure a weeb could tell me what it is. Perfect Blue begins with a woman named Mima. On stage, she announces that she is leaving the pop trio that she is a part of, Cham. One of the security guards named Mamania deals with another man harassing her from the crowd, and for that, Mima throws him a smile.
That was a mistake.
At this point, everything starts to unravel for Mima. Once she gets home, she takes down her Cham poster, her first step into her new life. She gets a phone call with somebody breathing on the other side, a fax saying, "Traitor." She opens a fan letter saying, "I've put up a link to Mima's room." Now, it's 1997, so she has no idea what the f that means, but hindsight is 2020. From here, we see the experience of someone unsure of the shift in their career, struggling to be seen as more than a pop idol. These two career managers, Tadakoro and Rumi. Rumi, being a former pop star herself, wishes Mima would continue singing like she enjoys, whereas Tadakoro is more focused on the dollar. A career as an actress would be much more successful than one in singing, so she needs to pivot. She starts as a small role in a show called Double Bind, a murder mystery. Mima, from the beginning, is clearly not the most confident in her career shift, but what's much more concerning is the backlash over Mima's departure from the pop group. Perfect Blue delves into topics like public perception and identity, specifically when fame is involved, presenting a different side of yourself due to being perceived by tons of strangers through a screen. Sound familiar? This movie has aged remarkably well. It holds more relevance now than it did when it came out nearly 30 years ago. That is incredible. Watching this movie is how I imagine it feels if your head is a jar of change that... Mima ends up getting a computer and connecting to the World Wide Web. Have some Y2K internet aesthetic here. She visits the website linked in the fan mail, Mima's Room. It's a fan site run by somebody pretending to be Mima, speaking for her. I just performed at the show center downtown. It was fun. Okay, that's cool, I guess. I always make sure to lead with my right foot when getting off the train, and getting into the bath. On my 21st birthday, I went to my usual store to buy mineral water and milk? With the knowledge that she has a stalker, Mima begins to overthink everything in her day-to-day life. No matter what she does, it appears on Mima's room guaranteed. And it turns out, Cham got their big break not long after Mima had left, further causing her to second-guess the decision to start acting. On her way to set the next day, she sees in the elevator a newspaper clipping of the man that harassed her in the beginning of the film. He was involved in a hit and run and is now in critical condition. As the elevator closes, Mima turns her head to see... I think that what makes this movie so disturbing is that it's entirely possible. The events in this movie are very much scenarios that can occur in real life, and unfortunately, the events in this movie absolutely have happened to somebody in real life. That's what gets to me the most in scary things. It's that same feeling when you're 14 and you realize that behind every safety regulation is most likely multiple dead people. Things like brake lights, child-proofing, outlet covers. I love this type of shit. I recently went on a 10-hour-long drive, I know. I'm American, but the whole time I was listening to true crime and disturbing documentaries. Shout out Mr. GG. The producers of Double Bind share Mima's next scene, and her two agents are very much at odds with each other over this, but Mima feels as if she has to in order to commit to her new career. She does do it, and it's very graphic. Rumi is very distressed, even Tadakoro shows discomfort towards what he just watched. But who's that watching them leave? Mima tries to act like she's fine with it, but she's definitely upset with what she just did, exploding after finding out that her fish had died. She ends the day by reading Mima's room. The author of the website knows about her experience on set that day, and has posted that she was forced to do it against her will by the screenwriter. It's all his fault. For the first time, Mima's projection of herself as a pop star appears, berating her about her choices. Let's pause for a second. Mima's room is clearly written by a stalker, right? But this scene reveals that Mimania, our stalker here, isn't writing Mima's room. He is just reading it like the rest of us. Who could be the one updating this website? Also, this guy... The screenwriter later is seen exiting his car in a parking garage. He hears one of Cham's songs playing from somewhere. As Mima's career advances, her public image as a pure-souled idol is tarnished. Nothing wrong with that by itself, but it draws a line in the sand from her old demographic. Japanese pop idol is the kind of job where your fans are very much encouraged to get attached in the wrong ways. This one-sided relationship is how cash is made for the most part, and this is destroyed if you do things like get a boyfriend, or getting smooth-talked into stripping for a perverted photographer. There have been child stars who, once they're older, feel the need to do something very drastic to break free of the general consensus placed onto them. But this is a very grim example. Mimania also isn't too happy about this. Mimania is obsessed with Mima, but not Mima the person, Mima the pop star. We all have idealized presentations of ourselves when around other people, but when you get to the point where people can recognize who you are when you're just walking in public, how much control do you really have over how you're perceived, and to an extent, who you are? We see the extreme of what happens if this fake relationship between star and fan is taken to the next level. The last third of Perfect Blue makes you feel how Mima does, disoriented, lost, fatigued, confused, what's real, what's not. This movie is constantly trying to pull one over on you. Every time you think you've got the movie pinned down, it throws you for another loop, exemplified by Mima's room, Double Bind, and her real life all morphing into one indistinguishable blur. Her paranoia with these strange murders surrounding her, her other life as a character on screen, and her internet identity outside of her control, it all becomes a psychological acid trip that doesn't let up. Neither Mima nor the audience can tell what's real because holy shit, this is insane. Mima's character in Double Bind becomes one of the leads. The new story now centers around her identity and sense of self. Later every night, she's checking Mima's room in a daze. This idolized fantasy has completely consumed her. She doesn't know how much time is passing, all with Mimania and her self-projections making appearances every other turn. Double Bind is being used as a parallel for Mima's real life, to the point where you can't even tell when we're swapping between the two. The lewd photographer from earlier gets a ring at the door. His pizza arrived, but unfortunately for him... Mima wakes up unaware of the fact that the photographer died, or how it happened, but she finds a bag with the bloody pizza delivery clothing in her closet, and of course the press is there to get the first scoop. Mima's next scene in Double Bind has her murdering somebody, which sends her into a panic. Now, Mima's being interviewed by a doctor. It turns out she has dissociative identity disorder, and her crimes committed were her other self. Oh, whoops, sorry about that. That was actually Double Bind, which as of now has wrapped filming. Wait a second. You're confused? Aw, well, I'm sorry to hear that, little man, but I don't really care. After filming, Mima is grabbing her things when he sees Mimania. Mimania reveals that he was responsible for killing the screenwriter. Fully convinced that Mima is some sort of imposter, Mimania tries to kill her too. Luckily, Mima knocks him out with a hammer and... Rumi eventually finds her. So, was this real? Rumi drives her home. Mima wakes up in her apartment with Rumi in the kitchen. She picks up the phone to call Tadakoro, but there's no response because he's dead, along with Mimania. Mima turns to see her fish, alive. She gets up. The Champ poster is there. This is not her room, and behind her is Mima, her projection, revealed to be Rumi in the reflection. Rumi's been responsible for Mima's room this whole time, furious at Mima's decision to quit being an idol, and wanting to live vicariously through her. With her eyes set on Mima next, she's chased out of the building, jumping off the balcony with reflections showing the reality of Rumi's little getup. They eventually end up on the side of a street. After having her wig torn off, Rumi jumps for it, gouging herself on exposed glass, tumbling into the road. For some reason, Mima dives to save her. Rumi is next seen at the psychiatric hospital. She has dissociative identity disorder. But for real. After the visit, Mima gets into her car, and after exclaiming that she's the real deal, the movie ends. Okay. Before we discuss the movie itself, let's talk about the DVD for a second. This DVD was released in 2000 and, yeah, definitely not the graphic design of today. Popping the disc in, you have pretty standard options alongside Mima's room. That's so cool. This menu looks like an old webpage with a bunch of goodies to explore, like behind-the-scenes footage of the cast singing the theme song, photos of Mima, ads for other anime DVDs, and even interviews with the cast and director Satoshi Kon. This is so cool, man. I wish DVDs still had this much care put into them. Put in any DVD made after like 2012 and what do you get? I should make a video about DVDs. How many views do you think that would get? Anyways, I've never seen a movie that manages to give the viewers a first-hand experience of what the main character goes through in such a literal way. My first time watching Perfect Blue was around 3 in the morning by myself, iPad in hand. I've never felt so uncomfortable in my entire life. This movie is scary, but it's so damn well made. I'm not going to claim that I'm an expert, but from a casual standpoint, the cinematography is incredible. I know people make fun of the blue curtains and English teacher levels of symbolism, but this movie has that. Despite the name of this movie, there's so much bright red. I don't want to hear it. This projection of Mima's former self as an idol represented her uncertainty of her decision, but even at the end we still see it when it's representing Rumi. Rumi was the one running Mima's room and emailing Mamania for help. I believe that Rumi killed the photographer as well. She acted and lived as Mima, murdering him to get revenge for tainting her image. It's kind of speculated on whether Mamania or Rumi killed him, but that's what I believe. It feels like every single decision made was meticulously crafted to feed into this central theme of multiple personas. Mamania is literally holding Mima in the palm of his hand in this shot. Mima wakes up after killing the photographer and looks at her hands. Rumi's final shot before it's revealed that she's the killer has the car's headlights shine on her like a spotlight. So many small details, not to mention in this gorgeous style of animation. It is a beautiful film. It's one of those movies where I notice a little something that I never caught before. You could watch it over and over again. My video on Wonder Egg Priority has done super well, especially for a brand new channel, so thank you. I had a couple people suggest Puella Magi Madoka. Apparently it's similar vibes. Looks like the year 2011 if I've ever seen it. Thanks for watching. I won't be talking about anime next time.